Lyra's kids.
We are now.
Welcome back. Anything else from superintendent report, Dr. Hood?
No, we're good, thank you.
All right, we're gonna move to the next item of our agenda, which is the first public forum. And so any item that is on the agenda, an action item. Would anyone like to speak? It's just state your name and family and go.
Hi, I'm Alyssa Violo. I want to thank you all for tonight and celebrating us. It really means a lot. And you all look so dressed up and nice to celebrate us. Thank you. Just want to say thanks.
Okay. All right, any other comments before we go to that? Okay, let's move to the next item on the agenda, which is a correspondence. And we received 5 correspondence. As usual, they are on file with the board secretary. We'll move to the next item, which are action items. And the first one is approval of administrative reports. We have items 101 through 102. I have someone give me a motion, followed by a second. Second. Okay. Any comments? Okay, so
Ms. Cassidy?
Yes.
Ms. Fiore?
Yes.
Mr. Lopes?
yes.
Mr. Pieros?
Yes.
Ms. Rad?
Yes.
Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Indo?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzo?
Yes.
Passes.
All right, next item is approval of minutes. We have 2 items, 201 through 202. Can I get a motion, followed by a second? Okay, any comments? All right, let's go.
Ms. Cassidy?
Yes.
Ms. Fiore?
Yes.
Mr. Lopes?
Yes.
Mr. Pieros?
Yes.
Ms. Rad?
Yes.
Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Indo?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzo?
Yes.
Passes.
All right, next item is a committee readouts. First one is for finance and facilities. We do not have a committee report this month, but we do have 13 items. Items 301 through 313. Can we have a motion followed by a second? Motion.
Second.
Any discussion on the items? Yes, vote.
Ms. Cassidy? Ms. Fiore?
Yes.
Mr. Lopes?
Yes.
Ms. Pieros?
Yes.
Ms. Rad?
Yes.
Mrs. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Indo?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzo?
Yes.
Passes.
Our next item is education technology. I don't see a committee report, right? We don't have one. Okay. But we do have 3 items, 401 through 403. Can I have a motion followed by a second? Motion. Okay. Any discussion? Good. Well,
Ms. Cassidy?
Yes.
Ms. Fiore?
Yes.
Mr. Lopes?
yes.
Mr. Pieros?
Yes.
Ms. Rad? Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Indo?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzo?
Yes. Okay. Our next item is for personnel. Okay, in the committee report, we do have 21 items, 501 through 521. Can I have a motion followed by a second? Okay. Any discussion? All right, so,
Ms. Cassidy?
Yes.
Ms. Fiore?
Yes.
Mr. Lopes?
yes.
Mr. Pieros?
Yes.
Ms. Rad?
Yes.
Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Indo?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzo?
Yes. All right, next is communication policy. We do have a committee data on this one. We do have one item new, 601. Can I have a motion followed by a second?
One second.
The committee met on April 29th at 3:30 p.m. First item we discussed was the AI committee handbook. Dr. Hart reviewed the AI handbook with the committee. The AI committee met 4 times throughout the school year. The committee consisted of staff, parents, and students. This committee collected data regarding AI use in schools. They developed ethical intentions such as transparency, academic integrity, critical literacy, data privacy and safety, fairness, equity, and age appropriateness. There will be no AI-specific policy. However, our academic integrity and acceptable use policy will include AI and speak to the AI handbook. This handbook is intended to be a fluid document as AI is ever-changing. Protocols for teachers and staff include understanding the SAMR model. AI is a tool, establishing clear AI use guidelines such as the traffic light system, model responsible practices, and transparent site citation. Protocols for students include understanding the traffic light system to know when to use AI, practice citation and acknowledge AI use, develop critical thinking and verification, respect intellectual property and safety measures. The handbook also mentions professional development timeline to gain key competencies. The committee is still working on a vetting rubric to evaluate AI tools, review cycle for all protocols, formalize agreements and feedback loop, and integrate AI literacy into curriculum. Dr. Hart is getting input from leadership and will keep the policy moving. The second item we reviewed was the religious exemptions protocol. Dr. Hart reviewed the religious exemption protocol document with the committee. This was brought to our attention because the district received a request to be exempt from a core novel found in the literacy unit because it substantially conflicted with their religious beliefs. This relates to the Mahmoud v. Taylor Supreme Court case, which ruled that public schools must allow parents to opt out their children out of curriculum that substantially interferes with their religious beliefs. When an opt-out request is received by any staff member, it should be forwarded to both the building principal and the appropriate supervisor. The principal and supervisor shall forward the request to the superintendent as notification. A meeting shall be scheduled between staff and the parent to review the opt-out request. The meeting will be to determine that the material or book substantially interferes with the religious development of the student, and the material book possesses a threat of undermining the student's religious beliefs and practices. It will also discuss what accommodations and alternate assignments can be made. Before the final decision is communicated to the parent, the superintendent should be advised as to the results of the parent meeting and the course of action that is planned for the student. A discussion with BOE council may occur as needed. The third item we discussed was the 3000 series revisions. Policy 3231, outside employment as athletic coach. This policy relates to staff members who may coach outside of our district and may require accommodations such as a work schedule adjustment. Dr. Hart will make a minor revision to the first sentence of this policy and will move forward with the first reading. The fourth item was handbooks. The committee will review the Board of Education handbook and the board committee handbook for general comments and feedback. The committee will send ideas on how to improve upon these documents to Ellen for her to organize for the next committee meeting. We then moved on to our policy tracking document and the Strauss SMA audit. We reviewed bylaw 0175. The Strauss SMA audit identified bylaws 0173 through 0177 as needing updates. However, 0175 is the only one needing an update, as all others were previously addressed during our review process. Bylaw 0175 refers to contracts with independent consultants. This will need to be added to our manual. Mark will look into this and bring it back to the committee. Policy 1110, Strauss SMA flagged this policy organizational chart as needing an update. We do not have this policy. This policy is not mandated. We review the district organizational chart in the personnel committee. We will add this policy, but it will be very simple and state that we have an organizational chart and it is available for review in the office. Policy 1642, earned sick leave. This is a mandated policy that the Strauss SMA audit flagged as us needing for our manual. Dr. Hart will bring this policy back to committee for review and adoption. The following policies, 1570, 1620, 1636.01, 2230, 2414, 2422, and 2440, were flagged by the Strauss SMA audit as needing an update. However, these policies were previously addressed by the committee in the fall. These policies were reviewed and updated, but were not reflected in the manual at the time of the audit. Policy 2416.01, postnatal accommodations for students. This policy was briefly discussed and the committee decided to keep it flagged, but to move on to more pressing policies. This policy is not mandated and could be considered at a later date. Policy 2428.1, standards-based instructional priorities. This policy is not mandated. We currently do not have this policy, but it may be good to have. Dr. Hart will bring this back to the committee for review and adoption. Policy 3216, dress and grooming, was flagged in the audit and reviewed by the committee again, and we decided to keep it as is. Policy 3324, right to privacy, 3340, grievance, and 3355, healthy workplace environment, are all missing from our manual. These are not mandated policies, but may be good to have. Dr. Hart will bring these back to the committee for review. Policy 3410, compensation. This policy was not in the Strauss audit, but Dr. Hart noticed it in their model policy manual. The Board of Education sets compensation when not in contract. Dr. Hart will look into this and bring it back to the committee. And finally, policy 3440, travel expenses. This policy was previously approved to be abolished, but never removed from the manual. This was a clerical error that will be corrected. And the agenda item for tonight is policy 3231. Our next meeting is Monday, June 1st at 3:30.
Thank you. Any comments or discussion?
Ms. Cassidy,
Yes.
Ms. Fiore,
Yes.
Mr. Lopez,
Yes.
Mr. Pieros,
Yes.
Mrs. Rad,
Yes.
Mrs. Ryan,
Yes.
Mrs. Pinto,
Yes.
Mr. Rizzo.
Yes. Okay, thank you. The next item is unfinished business. This is a follow-up to what I brought up last year meeting. The NJSBA Delegate Assembly meets twice a year. It's in May, I think October, November timeframe. I am the district's delegate, so I would go to represent the district as a voting member. Anyone doesn't know what this is basically all the districts could send the members there. You don't have to be a member, it's open to the public, so means that anyone can attend. Any board member can attend, you don't have to be a delegate, there's no meeting that anyone else is able to go to. When you go there, there will be certain resolutions that get voted on. This year, there's 6, I was right, there's 6 resolutions. And what happens is, you go there, people will introduce a resolution, the recall, like last year, I think every resolution got recalled. And we just really voted to recall them or not, and then there's a lot of procedural votes. But essentially, the idea is, what do we do with these 6 resolutions? So some of them are relevant to Reddington, others are not. So as a voting member, I can either vote yes, no, or can decide not to vote. So last BOE meeting, Dr. Hart had posted the PDF from NJSBA on our website, and this is a public document. There's 6 items out there. Now, what these 6 items are, for anyone that's not familiar, it's just like what should be added to the NJSBA's policy manual. So there's really no force of action in it. It's just that the NJSBA has policy manual. Do we want to add them, yes or no? And then there'd be the official policy of NJSBA, so that if they go and they do any liaisons with legislatures or congressmen or whatever, this is just the position of NJSBA. So that's really what it's doing. You're saying, should these be on the policy manual or not? There's really no force of action on any board. So there's 6 of them. A lot to read, it's a long document. There are 2 that I think affect Reddington and 4 don't. So my initial view is I probably wouldn't vote on the 4, and just vote on the 2. The 2 that have, and everyone could jump in because they have their own choice. The 2 that could possibly affect Reddington is should be someone was at South Orange and Maplewood are asking to use ranked choice voting for BOE elections, and that should be NJSBA's recommended policy or not. That would impact us, obviously. My personal view is I don't think that's something we should do. That kind of like it would really impact how we vote. Right now, if you have 8 people run or 6 people run, the top 3 vote getters get in. Ranked choice voting kind of changes that to where, if you didn't win, you drop out, but your second choice moves on and so on. Some states have it at certain levels, but it's not something that's really in New Jersey at the moment. So that's one. The second one I think that impacts us is the pilot and tax exempt, saying that right now, if you guys are familiar with pilot programs, money really doesn't come to the district. We have all these buildings being built up, and it's just going in there saying, some recommendations on how to do that. There's 4 others in there. People can bring them up if they want, but those are the 2. So I was going to probably say my vote if I was going to, just what I'm asking you guys, would be no on ranked post-ranked vote, and then yes on the pilot, and not vote on the other 4. So I'll just throw it up for anyone's discussion.
Can you clarify again how that voting works?
Basically, it would work to where, if you read the resolution, let's just say we had 6 people that ran in the last vote, right? That any person gets 25% of the vote. Now, it doesn't say 25% of people cast, but just 25% of the vote. Everyone here that ran, no one got 25% of the votes. Everyone roughly got around 3,000 votes, right? So no one would have been elected on first choice. And then they say, if anyone got over 25%, anything over 25% goes to the second person. And then what would happen next is, okay, the bottom person drops out. So whoever came in last, they get to pick their second choice. Whoever their second choice was on that vote, they now go to gets votes. To see if anyone has 25% again, if not, it's the fifth person drops out. So they keep adding bottom votes till somebody gets over 25%. It's an interesting thing, like they do it in certain states, but if you have a lot of people running no one gets it, bottom vote choice getters can actually influence who actually wins. It's just an interesting thing. That's what the resolution is for that.
I did actually read a book on voting options. That just selecting the top vote getter really doesn't reflect community vote. My preferred way of voting is they call it, it's not exactly ranked choice because ranked choice requires you to have a very in-depth understanding of all of the candidates and their positions, and you can actually manipulate it in a way where if you know that someone's going to be very popular, you put them way at the bottom, even if they don't actually disagree, even if you might disagree with someone that you rank higher, just because you think they're not going to do as well. So the actual best way to vote is where it's like, they said like Amazon voting. If you have 6 candidates, you rank each of them with like 5 stars, 4 stars, 3 stars, 2 stars, 1 star, or I don't have enough information, so I'm going to click on it. And that way you actually get more towards the true approval or community input. So I think this is not necessarily the ideal way to do it. And from what I read, it was a single choice election. It's ideal for as opposed to just with multiple seats. But when I read through this, I thought they had said that it wasn't a requirement. It was simply allowing this type of approach in districts. So just approving it would not mandate it in your community, but it would allow it if your community chose to use it. I think we need to be more bold about our election styles and how we're going to work with making sure that people are truly represented in the places. So if it were up to me, I would vote yes.
Anyone else?
I don't know.
I would vote
Once again, this has no force, it just goes into the policy handbook of the passes, that's all it does. And then, to point, the actual local town would actually have to vote, or the state of New Jersey to allow it. It was really just, it's just that. And then the other one on the pilot, where it's trying to, get more funding for the districts as opposed to just the town keeping it all. I think that's actually a pretty good one, so we've talked about that. And then the other 4, I was just not going to vote, so.
There is a pilot language in the legislature right now that would probably go faster than this process. I read one of their capital news, the school board, this capital news newsletter that said that's moving forward much quicker than this whole process, so that they alleviate this whole thing.
One development is definitely would be nice to actually have a change in the pilot process. All right, so any other comments on that? So no objections on the how we want to do it? All right. So we have a lot of things in new business from the board. One is the NJSBA convention, so there's 2 parts of that. One, Dr. Hart's going to announce something that I think is pretty good with the referendum, right?
Well, I don't know yet.
Maybe not.
Submitted a proposal to present, but we'll see July, they'll let us know whether or not we're actually presenting at the convention.
That's 2 questions, sorry.
Yeah.
I thought that's why it was on the agenda.
No, it's okay. I think you all know we submitted a proposal. So now it's a little surprise, but let's just fingers crossed that we'll be accepted and then you can all come and heckle. How's that sound?
When do we have to register this? Do you know what date is coming soon? Like when do you normally register for it?
You're already registered. We registered everyone,
Oh, we did?
just in case, and then we adjust it when we get around a month and a half, based on who's actually going, and we secure rooms as well. And then we adjust those so there's no charge.
October 19th and 22nd. And we'll remind you between now and September, and Jason will have like a drop dead date, but we'll bring this back to every agenda. All we really need to know from folks who might want to go is, do you want to go? Do you want to go for a day? Do you want to go for several days? Do you want a hotel room? I think we blocked Harrods this time. We tried, we stayed last year, Hard Rock, we tried the day they opened registration.
Those conventions actually have a hard rock, right? So you just take your elevator down and right there.
Now, this one's at the convention center, so not Hard Rock, but
Oh, man.
it's on the boardwalk. Hard Rock's on the
Oh,
boardwalk.
yeah,
and
I
Harrods
was
is-
thinking about the events.
Yeah, there are some events. So just look at your calendars for October 19th and 22nd. You can pick whatever days you want to go down even for a day if you'd like to, and just really let Jason know everybody's registered and we'll just cancel anybody who's under.
Next item is board self-evaluation. We use the same timeline as last year. Last year we did after we did superintendent evaluation with the June meeting. We then did the self-eval. I go in, I sign in NJSBA, I have board president, I type in our goals, I paste them in. Kathy turns it on, Kathy Gloria, and then we get a link, and we'll just keep it open for a couple of weeks. What we did last time is we had a board retreat where we went over the results, which kind of goes into our next board item. So we'll do, I assume everyone's okay with doing the same thing, evaluation in June, and then in July meeting, we have a board retreat, we'll just go over the results.
Mr. Rizzo, can I just ask you a quick question? Does the board, would you like me to see if Kathy Poirier can come in July, or do you want to have Judith Wilson come back? I don't know. You can let me know. I just want you to think about it. I mean, I don't know if we want to have Judy, who took us through strategic planning, if that, if the goals and the self-eval might all tie in together, or if we just want to have somebody from the school boards walk the board through the process and try something different. Either way.
Yeah, you talk offline.
Yeah, just email me if you have any ideas, or email David if you have thoughts.
Strategic planning committee update. Okay. So strategic planning, I'll go first, and go with myself, who was on Pam, myself, Richmond, and Dr. Hart, obviously we're all part of the meeting. Everyone knows we did the surveys with all the community feedback, interviews, everything. So I was presented in this room about 2 weeks ago. Judy Wilson led it, about 31 people as core team members, broken through groups, who went through it, did initial overview of what it is, and grouped everything in subjects, came up with very rough written goals. So the meeting I thought went really well. You guys can jump in after I'm done with your thoughts on it. The next thing we have planned, I believe, the 20th?
May 18th.
Yeah, May 18th, we're gonna meet as a core team. It's gonna be the 4 of us that are on the board, plus 4 administrators, Dr. Hart and Judy Wilson, and we're gonna go through the output of that and start working on finalizing the goals. So I thought everything along with it. The 3 of you have any comments on the meeting?
Just some constructive thoughts as we go forward. We did talk a lot about AI, and it was almost hard to go through. It was the same process in at Central Strategic Planning as at ours, that it was very manual. That people were handwriting and putting things up and saying things out into the room, and then it would kind of disappear, and we had to pull it back in and then assemble themes and figure out what we were trying to say, as opposed to using some of these new tools we have, where we could have been feeding all of these ideas into and trying, and it would be interesting, I think, to take that raw data and feed it through, ChatGPT or Gemini and see, does it come up with some similar themes to what we captured as human beings?
Yeah, that's funny, because when we were in our small group at the end, where we actually did our draft goals, that's what we did. We actually took all the feedback and put it into ChatGPT, or Gemini, I'm not sure what Mr. Charleston did, and he went through and, it was actually worked out really well, and then we, make it shorter, or take this out, and they were like instantaneously rewrote it. I think another group does that as well, too.
Yeah.
It's definitely a good idea.
I did it. I think you.
What we did, I was with Rebecca, so naturally, she was over there, and I was, wow, that was really good, so Okay, got it.
But I
Certainly
thought
really good.
it would have been great if we had a wall full of comments and ideas and thoughts, and to have that electronically translated, I think would have been very powerful.
The picture uploaded, you should say analyze.
Yes, exactly. So I don't know if we still have an opportunity for that, just to kind of align and see that we didn't miss something big that had been mentioned repeatedly. It's funny how like, this technology is so new, but it already just, it seems so powerful.
Which I think Judy prefaced her presentation with, she's not IT strong, and I can relate to that. So, but I understand that. I was impressed with having fifth graders on the second day, and
They were middle schoolers, I forget.
There's,
Oh,
I'd say there's sixth grade.
so sixth grade, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I had one of the young girls in our last session. And, I kept asking her, what do you think? And her perspective was interesting. And probably come a long way in sixth graders in the last 20 years since I was in school. I was impressed. I was impressed with all the feedback and some of the themes, and then I was really struck by some of the younger kids who want less screen time. Of course, we'll play time, but I thought it was very good. I was glad I attended.
I'll just say that, I had the pleasure of introducing everyone, and I got some feedback on the way out the door, and I want to inform the board and have you take comfort in the fact that we do good work, and the folks that were in the room were very encouraged at the caliber of conversation, the depth of thought, and the inclusive nature of the process. One of the parents, who I do not know all that well, my impression, I don't know, maybe it's a little bit embellished, but she thanked me sincerely, profusely, and I gathered maybe with some emotion, perhaps like a well in her eye, was like this was life-changing to see how people really care so much about the kids and how invested the staff in the community really are in like our future work. So I thought it was a powerful 2 days. It really was. And the feedback was great. So I just want to encourage all of you as board members and inform you and let you know that that message came across not only from that one parent, from everybody who left with extreme gratitude for being part of the process and seriously impressed with the work that we're doing here in the chair.
Spent a lot of time planning the different levels of people. I think we have 8 or 9 community members, right?
Parents, plus community
Members, right? And as well as and then 2 students, and then representative administrators and staff, and I think Lori, who's a communication person. So we have a really wide variety of people, and they all came with different perspectives, but kind of like the see too. They all have like a passion to do what's good for the school.
Yeah.
So I just thought it was, everyone did really well. So if you're listening at home, thank you for coming, and thank you for your input.
Can
All right.
I ask for a comment on the strategic planning? I'm a little bit disappointed in that the proposal that we had from Judith was that we would have goals by the end of the second day, by that 4:30 team. We liked that Judith was bringing all these voices to the table, but her proposal in the process is to create those goals. And I'm just troubled or confused about when, like, if this is gonna go back to the 4-person team, what are the next steps? Like, we paid for this consultant to do this work, and now I'm like, where are we going from here? It's gonna have to bounce back and forth. The 4-person, I understood what you had said in the pre-committee, the 4-person team, then the full board, then back to the 30-person team. It's like, who has the decision making on this? Where is it going from here? And why did we deviate from that process that she gave us, that this is what she does, this is her expertise, she does this well, we paid her a lot of money to do this, and we brought people in the room, we paid for subs to be there, so like, where are we going from here?
Okay, so I'm gonna slightly disagree with characterization in that when we brought her in, I read her proposal actually a couple times. It said facilitate in a separate book line is just goal creation. It didn't say that meeting is gonna be goal creation. And one of the questions I had asked her is, what's your role? And she said, I'm a facilitator, not a content creator. She was very emphatic on that, and that it comes from them. The other thing to note is the way NJSBA does it, which is almost like how everyone does it, is the goals, the input comes in from the community, but it's up to the board and the administration to have final say. That's why we were elected, that's why you have staff, and that's who really gets to actually write them. So you get feedback, we got phenomenal feedback, but the wordsmithing is gonna be slightly different. We got, I think, what was it, 4 goals again, right?
Or two goals for each.
Yeah.
Goal area.
Exactly, so we're gonna take that, we'll take that in. So really the first step is on the meeting of the 18th, is really who's responsible for the strategic plan, the administration and the board. So we're gonna get together, Dr. Hart picked, 4 or 5 administrators.
Yeah.
We have the 4 of us, we'll wordsmith it, we'll get that out. And then really, this true meeting of the board is, then they'll go to action plans. And then the board has to vote on it. And the goal is to get a 9-0 vote, to be honest. That's really what we need to be, a 9-0 vote. We've been saying, oh, we don't want a 5-4 vote, a 6-3. We would like a 9-0 vote. So by having the committee and the administration work together, it's really just wordsmithing what came out of it. And we're the ones that are responsible for it. We're the ones that are gonna vote on it. We're the ones that are gonna implement the action plan. So it's really just taking our responsibility, and that is how NJSBA does it. Almost every district does it that way. So that's
I just wonder, that is not the process that we followed last time, using the same exact consultant. It was that core team created those goals, and then it went back to, I think the board came in at the very last step. So for the board to be involved now, and then to go back to the core 30, it's like bouncing around, and for me, it's like too many cooks in the kitchen. I mean, these aren't board goals. These are goals that are owned by the community, by most of those people that were in the room. This is not what we want to see. Probably none of us will be on the board in 5 years when they're doing the final, evaluations of how we do on the strategic plan. So I don't feel ownership over these goals. I feel like that group was there to make them, and then the only work after that meeting should be the action steps, and that's it. I just feel like this is overreaching. We don't need multi-steps of a 4-person team, then full board, then back to the 30, then back to the full board. It's like,
That's almost how every district does it.
but that's not what the process was last time. And that's what I'm trying to say. I just want you to know that that is not what we signed up for when we signed up for Juno. She very clearly laid out how this was gonna work. She's gonna pull all the feedback, get those people in the room, create those goals. It goes to Dr. Hart for the action items with his leadership team, done. So we're creating so much more work for ourselves with this, and putting these oversight levels that were never there before.
We're not oversight, we're doing what we were elected to do and hired to do. This is what it is. The district owns it. Judy's a facilitator. The public gives input, and the input is phenomenal. And the goals are probably 90% written. It's just that final 10%, and that's our role. And that's how NJSBA does it. That's how every district does it. So why deviate how it's done throughout the state?
I wasn't in the room, so I'm gonna be asked to vote on these 4 goals. I wasn't there. I didn't hear what the different things are. And frankly, it doesn't matter, if I wanna put my goals on top of that, am I allowed to say, okay, now, because that feels like that shouldn't be the process. The process was we gathered all the feedback, and then, at some point you have to stop and say, okay, that was enough feedback. And now we're gonna move forward, and this is the stuff that rose to the top. So I just feel like this is not utilizing the consultant that we paid for. Like, this is her expertise area. She had a way, it worked really well for our district last time. I don't see any reason to deviate from that.
All right, any other comments before we move on? Okay. Okay, the next item is NJSBA 100 County Media Recognitions. First, Pam, new board member certification. Congratulations, Pam. Christina, new board member certification, and Beth, I'll be passing over.
Certified.
It says Mrs. Runner.
Yes.
Certified, thank goodness, right, sorry. So there, there's no close to, congratulations, everybody.
I don't know if you all get certificates, and I'm actually like having trouble tracking it, like, we took a picture for with Beth. Justina, you have no picture, but you have a year-long certification,
And no certificate.
and no certificate, but no picture. And Pam, you just got.
I got a picture on Facebook.
You got- Congratulations.
But it's
everyone.
not with a certificate, it's with
Okay.
a police one.
Just let me know, and we'll make sure, like, we get a picture, we can post it on the website, we can put it on our social media as well. Yeah. Okay. Beth, are you certified board member and then master, so certified is first and then master board member? And that was what we did in September, right? When you got that certification, that paper certificate.
They also, I just wanted to add, I did, I can't remember where we heard this, but, they changed the rules a little bit, but now you have to be a certified board member for a full year before you can be, master certified. So just want to get,
So you're gonna go to
they changed all of it.
to all the credits at NJSBA?
Well, I have quite a few, my credits ready towards the master, but you
You can't.
Maybe years.
can't apply for it until you have a solid year being certified.
Okay.
That's new apparently, so just wanted to share.
I mean, there's an extraordinary number of hours, county meetings, NJSBA workshops, like you, when they scan us in and at school boards like that, those credit hours, they count toward all of the certifications, so it's a lot of work, so, congratulations.
I did find out that we can also pursue, board certification, in like townships, school board, staff, by bringing in NJSBA training.
Those are the kinds of things that boards sometimes talk about to as board goals, like when we do the board self-evaluation, sometimes that's like a goal to become certified board. If that's something that interests the board, certainly talk to Captain Poirier about it, and see if it rises to, some level, board self-evaluation, that could be a goal.
Does that require any type of individual certification, or is that really as a whole?
I asked, and it was, the board as a whole just set routine meetings, sets up these trainings, turns it together. There's no individual pursuing certifications, and even if we have like a board member leave at the end of the year and a new one come on, it doesn't change the accomplishment of the board.
Briefly,
We met on Tuesday, May 5th. We started with a strategic focus for the 2025-2026 school year. Mr. Dalton presented the year in review and closed out the action plans the district has been tracking over the school year. He updated the committee on the referendum, strategic planning, and staff-led green for wellness-based initiatives demonstrating successful partnerships with the Reddington community and beyond. Highlights include over half of the district referendum projects were sustainable in nature, with many started or scheduled. The strategic planning core team, which met in April, included 6 approved committee members. The strategic planning committee will review the proposed district goals for alignment and sustainability, wellness, and objectives. At Reddington Middle School, the Equal Ambassadors Program and the Community Nature Prize for the school has been awarded more than $10,000 in grants for outdoor spaces. Betsy Freeman walked her camera through the tiny forest behind the middle school, showing the many trees that have been planted, and thanked Jason Bowman Facilities for their support of grant applications in the area. And she all can go out and check them a little later outside behind RMS. At Holliver School, the biodiversity audit started as a pilot program for all schools in the district. Dr. Moss invited community members and students to participate in a Wildlife Federation checklist to document the flora and fauna of the school. The HBS audit will be completed by the end of May, and the remaining schools will be scheduled for their biodiversity audits in the fall of next spring. Ms. Adhikari complemented the partnership with local experts like Mr. Becker, who shared their firsthand knowledge with students. Additionally, Mr. Landy sent thanks to HBS and the Remington Department of Public Works for the fourth grade Black and Ladder Trail Walk, highlighting the true partnership between the community and schools. At Bridges School, Mr. Becker shared that a grant with TBS Learning Blues would be approved in May. TBS was awarded the Educator of the Year by the New Jersey Association of Extension 4-H Youth Development Professionals. To celebrate Earth Day at White House School, specials classes had 3 topics in all electives, from music to art, Spanish, PE, library, and STEM lab. Students at White House School partnered with Rutgers Master Gardeners to plant peas, lettuce, onions, radishes, and carrots in their garden and their house. Mr. Bone shared that across the district, all water stations now include water bottle fillers, plastic bags are being collected from plastic benches, outdoor air quality is being monitored to limit pollution from buses and other cars, and students are participating in food tastings and culture sessions, food pantry donations, bicycle safety, nature and garden club, field trips such as America's Row, biking vision, America's watershed bus and science fairs, food giveaways, and playgrounds. I just wanted to emphasize just how much is going into this district, and that's just a sample. So for the strategic focus and brainstorming for the 2026-27 school year, over the summer, the Green Committee will meet to identify the next school year's objectives in alignment with 3 pillars. 1, to reduce environmental impact and costs. 2, to improve the health and wellness of schools, students, and staff. And 3, provide environmental education. Early brainstorming included Ms. Fetterman suggested applying for cafeteria food waste reduction grants, like neighboring Hunterdon County school districts, building upon the data that Mr. Zorlin previously compiled. Suggestions such as composting, food waste reduction, or raising money to the school garden were proposed. Multiple committee members asked for a baseline energy report prior to referendum change implementation to better understand the energy use impact of projects such as solar installation and boiler upgrade. Mr. Zorlin suggested posting energy use on the district website for transparency with the community. Ms. Cassidy asked to benchmark against other districts to identify best practices and share ideas. Ms. Betterman suggested taking the link with Hunterdon County schools that they'll Hispanic municipalities. Our unfinished new business, Mr. Bone provided a select solar update that installation by December 2027. The next Green Committee meeting will be in the summer of 2026 for strategic planning with administration and board. That's it. The Green Committee update.
Any comments?
I just have one more thing I wanted to add. I was looking at all of those pictures that have been coming out of the Teacher Appreciation Week that the Homeschool Association representatives have been sharing in schools. And they're stunning. I mean, we have some absolutely amazing representatives on the HSA who are really just doing incredible work. And I'm sure every teacher and staff member really felt appreciated. Based on, it was amazing, wasn't it? Amen. Yeah. And really got to go check out some of those pictures. Maybe you can share some of them. They were phenomenal. But thank you too.
Yeah, no.
They just said.
Okay. Our next item is our second open public forum. Is any item on or off the agenda?
Not online, but I do have an email that was asked to be read. Hello, my name is Kathleen DeLuca. I am a Reddington Township resident requesting my comments to be read aloud at tonight's BOE meeting and documented as a public comment. I have spoken at previous meetings on my opposition to language added by the Reddington BOE beyond the Strauss-Esme recommendations for Library Materials Policy Resolution 2535. The topics that both myself and other members of the public have raised have involved procedural, legal, and ethical concerns, but the point I would like to focus on today relates to community. I have been truly inspired by many aspects of the Reddington School District, most notably in the accomplishments of the student body, the dedicated educators supporting them, and the mindset of the administration in caring for the present while preparing for the future. As a resident of the township, the effort the district is making in community engagement is not only heartening, but crucial for success. Education doesn't occur in a vacuum, and community involvement goes beyond accountability for tax dollars. It's about bringing the classroom to real-world impact for today's students to become tomorrow's leaders. With this being said, the earnestness for public engagement is at odds with the overwhelming lack of support for the past 2535 policy/regulation, and has me wondering, what does the board consider community to be, and who is part of it? Are the students whose opportunities are being limited as a result of board decisions part of the community?
Are residents of the township who are paying into the school system the community? Are the parents of children within the district the community? Are the teachers we have entrusted with student education the community? Are the librarians who have been hired based on their credentials the community? Are residents of neighboring municipalities who are wondering about the implications of this board's actions on their own town's part of the community? The above questions are, of course, all hypothetical, and I don't think it's unreasonable to consider that, yes, all of these people are part of the community. And perhaps more importantly, the community is an entirety of voices within it, and not just those that align with the viewpoints expressed by the majority of the board members. The 25-35 language that has been added is a solution in search of a problem. It is not the board's purview to act as parents or to conflate safety with morality. As has been demonstrated, the district has already provided tools for parental monitoring of resource materials and a defined process for escalating complaints. Dissatisfaction with the ultimate decision after following that process is not an acceptable basis for promoting what is, for all intents and purposes, censorship within the Bennington schools. Thank you very much for your time and consideration. Catherine DeLuca, Bennington Township, District 6.
Comments online, so I will close out public session. Now we're gonna move to executive session. I'll raise the motion. Motion to adopt the following resolution. Resolved to adjourn to executive session in accordance with the Sunshine Law to discuss HIV, legal update, and the superintendent's evaluation for approximately 90 minutes, at which time the board expects to return to public session where action shall not be taken. Matters discussed will be made public if and when circumstances requiring confidentiality no longer exist. However, it's not presently known when such circumstances will exist. Can I get a second? Can we get a roll call vote this one?
Mrs. Cassidy,
Yes.
Ms. Fiore,
Yes.
Mr. Lopes,
Yes.
Fierro,
Yes.
Mrs. Rad,
Yes.
Mrs. Ryan,
Yes.
Mr. Bittler,
Yes.
Mr. Rizzo.
Yes. Thank you.
Thanks for sticking around.